Hello, 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 everybody. We are back with another episode of the Bangology podcast, is what my team told me we're calling it. I'm Dr. Tanya Lowe. I am the founder of the Renewing Extract Wellness and Bangology. And we're going to be talking about pet CBD. That's right. This month is National Pet CBD Month, and I'm so excited about our guest. And you probably hear some craziness in the background. It's Cooper. He's running around with his toy, and I'm going to let him tonight because we're talking about pets. And so my pet is a crazy man, and I'm going to let him run around tonight. So our guest tonight, I can't wait to introduce him to you. Okay, Cooper, I'm going to need you to be quiet. Is Dean Killingbeck. Dean is a third generation farmer who discovers how to give your dog a life without separation anxiety and aging pains with plant medicine and natural remedies. And so if you've got a dog that is aging and he's got some moving a little slow, then you want to make sure that you watch this. And if your dog's not moving slow yet, you want to watch this too and tell a friend. So like I said, Dean Killingbeck is a third generation farmer, holistic lifestyle advocate, and a successful entrepreneur. He's also an author, and we'll talk about his book a little bit later. He knows earth, nature, and how it can help our beloved dogs live longer, healthier lives. Dean watched his dog Sadie live her last years in pain and could not get any help from traditional medicine. And so he's going to tell us a little bit more about that story and kind of some of the things that he did. So with that being said, hey, Alicia, welcome to the broadcast tonight. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Dean on up.
Here I am.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. So we're talking about, it's National Pet CBD Month. Pets get their own CBD month. And
they do.
I think that's pretty cool. So tell us, I gave your brief bio. Tell us a little bit about your story and how did you get into farming and pets in CBD and natural health?
Okay, well, I got into farming pretty easy. I was born into it. My mother and dad lived on a farm, and I had two brothers, 22 and 24 years older than I am. So I was the second family,
Okay.
Which meant that I had nephews and nieces older than me before I was born. So that was kind of interesting, them calling me Uncle Dean, in front of all their friends. This is my Uncle Dean. But so, the farming part just came naturally. I still farm, if you want to call it that. I've got about an acre garden that I do. It's all organic, of course, and I have a lot of fun with it. I give tons away, and I also put up quite a bit. So,
Wow.
especially when it comes to tomatoes. And I tell everybody my specialty is raspberry jam. So that's my specialty. Okay.
I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, this year I made 50 some jars of raspberry jam because I give so much of it away because I really don't eat that much sugar myself.
Right.
It's not in our diet. But so I give it all away. But so they let them have the sugar high. I'll not have it. But how I got into CBD is pretty interesting. As you mentioned, I had a dog, Sadie, and at 9 years old, she became arthritic. And I watched her through that and went to the vet and tried some traditional big pharmaceutical stuff with her. And I wasn't happy with it. And I even think that in the long run, it might have given her those drugs, might have shortened her life. But we tried to make it. So is the worst nightmare of all pet parents, as you well know, is to make the decision to euthanize your dog.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, after I did that, I really felt I'd probably never have another dog. I mean, it was pretty traumatic to me because Sadie was my dog. Everybody had, if you got a big family, the dog always goes to one person and bonds with that person, even though it likes the rest of the family. It
Right.
bonds with that person, right? Well, it bonded with me, and Sadie was my dog. She was a hunting dog. At that time, I was doing a lot of hunting, so we had a lot of fun together. And so I didn't think I'd ever get another dog. Came along, this dog came up, we adopted the dog, and about 3 years ago, her name's Lily. She became arthritic at 11 years old, and she wouldn't walk up the steps, she wouldn't walk down the steps, she wouldn't jump on the couch anymore, she wouldn't jump in the car. I literally had, this is a 65-pound dog that this old man is picking up and putting in the car or taking out of the car to go to the vet or go to the groomer.
Right.
And at that time, CBD came into being, that it was approved and became legal in all 50 states.
Right.
So I turned around and was on the internet, like a lot of people do now, and found out about CBD and started thinking, well, it really helps with inflammation. This is what she has. I really don't want to give her big pharma drugs, so I'm going to try it. Literally within 3 weeks, and this is no exaggeration, this dog was jumping on the couch, jumping in the car. And today at 14, you'd think she's a puppy. She runs around, goes up and down the steps. I tell everybody now, all of a sudden, she's decided at 14, she's a lap dog. If I sit down and watch a football game, she jumps on my lap. And she didn't even do that when she was 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. She just started doing this, and it's the funniest thing. I go, now at 14, you think you're a lap dog, right?
And that's all because you decided to take a chance and try the CBD.
Right. That's exactly right. And now I consider myself, I've appointed myself as self-appointed authority on CBD, especially when it comes to pets. So the people that are watching this are going to say, what? He's a self-appointed authority? Well, what better authority is there than me?
Well, I think you are a pretty good authority on pet CBD because you have the experience of not having it and then actually seeing what happened when your dog did use it, and it extended her life and her mobility, and she's all over the place like a puppy. Because our dogs are like our family. I can remember just almost 2 years ago losing my dog, and it was a traumatic experience. And I think we want to do the things that we can to prolong the life of our beloved four-legged family members. So Dean, do you grow hemp on your farm, and kind of when did you start creating your own product? When did you decide I want to create my own product?
Most of our about 3 years ago, right after I found out about CBD and how good it was, I decided right then and there I wanted to be in this business because I didn't think that enough people knew about it, and I wanted to wave the flag, if you want to say that, of CBD and what it could do for dogs. And you mentioned that to start with. If you got an older dog, you should listen to this. I tell everybody, it's just like most people take supplements. Most people give their kids supplements. So why wouldn't they give the best supplement out there for dogs at a young age, which is CBD? Because it's called homeostasis. It helps the whole body operate better. So why not start out young? Not in that, but it's proven to be an inflammation to stop inflammation. It's proved to be anti-cancerous. It's proved to be anti-tumors. So why not start them out at an early age?
Right.
And then you don't have all those problems when they get older.
So that was one of the questions that I just got in. When can I start giving my dog CBD? So I just got a puppy 6 months old. When can I start giving my dog CBD?
Yeah, you can start right now. You got to remember that because they're not in any pain or anything, we don't have to give them high dosage. So we just give them like what you do with one vitamin. So rather than giving them it comes in a tincture and it's labeled, so it's a dropper form. So, normally I would start out, and it depends on the weight of the dog too. As
Right.
the dog gets older, then it should have a little more CBD. And so it's easy to tell what to do because there's only two things that can happen. And I get this question all the time. It's one of my top 5 questions that I get is, can my dog overdose on CBD? It's never in the history been written any place that any dog has ever died of CBD. So it's really hard to overdose them. Okay. But what can happen is one of two things. One is they look for a corner to sleep in because it slows them down and they want to sleep. And
Mhm.
or the other is they get a little bit of diarrhea. Well, if you're thinking a little bit and you go, oh, maybe I'm giving them too much CBD, but you want to know why that happens. It's not the CBD, it's oil that's the carrier of the CBD.
Mm.
So that's usually what causes those two problems.
And-
So yes, I would start my dog out at an early age, low dosage. If it's a pup and it's 20 pounds, someplace in there, 30 pounds, you use a medium dog because most reputable companies will have a small, medium, and large dog. So if they're reputable and they do it right, you'll be able to say, okay, my dog is this weight. It's a medium dog, even though it's a puppy, and I'm going to start it there. As it gets older and it gets to be a bigger dog, then up the dosage a little bit because that homeostasis kicks in. Everything for people, homeostasis is this, okay? When we're thirsty, we go get a water and get a drink. That's
Right.
our body telling us that it's out of homeostasis. It's not working properly. If we get overheated, we look for a place to go hide in the shade. So our body temperature comes down. That's what homeostasis is. It tries to keep your whole body regulated all the time. So that's what you're doing. And people say, well, if you want to talk about some of the things that CBD can really help with dogs, we talk about inflammation or pain. That's probably number one. Okay. Number 2 is separation anxiety, or we call anxiety. There's actually 2 types: separation, and the other is situational. So everybody knows pretty much what separational anxiety is. That's when you're starting to get dressed and your dog's starting to prance around, and if you leave him in the house, he's going to tear it apart. So you go put the dog in doggy jail, in a room or
Yeah.
in a cage, so that he doesn't tear apart the house while you're gone. And so that's separation anxiety. Situational is thunderstorms, people coming to the door that are coming in, and the dog goes crazy because he knows somebody's news coming in the house.
Fireworks on 4th of July.
Yep. Actually, July is our number one biggest seller for new customers of CBD because they're just finding out, hey, my dog, it goes crazy with all this fireworks going on. So they work really hard on trying to figure out if they can find a good way to settle down the dog.
Right. So, you mentioned, Dean, that the dog, you can't overdose. Your dog can't overdose. And so they're either going to sleep all day, which, for many dogs, that's kind of what they do anyway. So they'll get some really good sleep,
Right.
or their stomachs are going to be upset. So, so if someone is trying CBD for the very first time, for their animals, would you recommend that they put it in the water or in their dry food or their wet food? Or so how would you recommend that it's administered?
Yeah, most of the time, I'm a lazy pet owner. Okay, some people can actually put it in their dog's mouth, and it works really well, and it works very fast if your dog doesn't mind it. Okay, I just put it on their kibble, on his kibble. I feed a really high class kibble, but a lot of people have gone to raw diets, have also gone to cooked diets, that sort of
Yeah.
thing, and you
Yeah.
just put it on their food, and it's very very simple and easy to do. I tell a story that I've got a pet nutritionist that works with us, and her dog, she's got a bulldog, and this bulldog is the cutest thing in the world because when she gives it the CBD, it raises its hind leg and it opens its mouth and she just squirts it in. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. So, that's the easiest way to do it. The other thing about dosage, especially if you're talking about separation anxiety and you're talking mainly pain, I am completely different than everybody else out there. Everybody else says start at a little and then keep increasing. And I
Right.
say BS, start high and decrease because dogs have so many receptors. They're called
Mm.
C1 and C2 receptors that they're so quick to react to it. You will know in 3 days whether or not you got the right dosage. So,
So um so I'm fortunate enough to have a bottle of Dean's Pet CBD, and I think I've probably been on the because of his size, and I wasn't really sure how much to give him. I've been on the conservative level, but I could probably kick it up a notch to see and then scale back down. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes, absolutely. That's to me, because let's face it, one of those things that I always hear is that stuff don't work. Okay, and there's only two reasons why. One is that they bought it really cheap stuff. They bought it from the vape shop, or
Uh-huh.
they bought it from the convenience store or a video store, or even the marijuana places that sell marijuana usually sell cheap CBD, $15-$20 for 1 ounce bottle. This stuff has no CBD. It's CBD oil. If they've been to Amazon and they bought it off of Amazon, it's CBD
Right.
oil. It's not CBD. It has no CBD in it. It's only CBD oil. There is a ton of difference.
The carrier, it's just the carrier oil.
It's just the carrier oil. It has
Right.
no CBD in it.
So, quality definitely matters when it comes to CBD, whether it's for humans or our pets. And guys, I think I told my story. If not, just kind of scroll back through one of the videos about my experience when I first started using CBD and ordering it online and had a bad reaction. So quality does matter. So without naming names, well, I guess we could name some names because we're only going to be talking about two brands tonight. But so what makes a quality CBD tincture for the dog? What's quality? What should a person look for?
Okay, a couple things. One of them is it's called a COA. It's certificate of analysis.
Yep.
Okay, so they should always go online and look and see what the COA says. Now, we happen to be a little different than most people with our COAs. Most people, what they do is they test for how much CBD is in it. Okay.
Mhm.
And that makes a lot of difference because they'll say, oh, there's 100 milligrams or 50 milligrams in a 1 ounce bottle. Well, that's when you take 30 tinctures and let's say it's 100 milligrams and you divide that by 30, that means that they're only getting 3 milligrams of CBD. That's about enough to help a flea. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And that's it. So you got to break it down. So like with small dogs, the minimum we put in 200, medium 400, large dogs 600. Okay. But not only do we give you that COA, we ourselves, we do a lot of other testing. So we want to test for not only heavy metals, but we want to test for fungicides. We want to test for mold. We want to test for oh, come on,
Organisms.
yeah, microorganisms. That's a good thing. So we test for all of those things. Like most COAs is a $60 test. Ours is a $600 test.
Wow. Wow. So guys, what Dean is saying is, and we've talked about COAs before, the certificates of analysis. You want to make sure that what's in it is in it. And what he's saying is that they're running that initial test, but they're also running additional tests to make sure that there's nothing in there harmful for that can hurt the dog. And I think that's pretty awesome, because people who are just starting out with CBD for themselves, and they're thinking, several people have asked me, well, can I give my dog CBD? How do I know what's a good product? Well, we're going to be talking about some good products tonight, but I think it's really great that same quality assurance for pets, for human CBD, is used in the pet CBD lane, or at least in your company, which may not be the same in other companies. Is that correct?
That's correct. And people, another question I'll get asked all the time. Well, can I take that companion? The answer is absolutely yes, you can.
Really?
Yeah. Now, what we've done for our people is, because everyone's different. Somebody wants focus. Somebody wants to be calm. Somebody wants to be relaxed. Somebody wants to have pain. We've added terpenes, the best terpenes in
terpenes are great
products to specifically hit like your focus. So we put terpenes in there for just focus. For relief, we put in terpenes just for inflammation. So can I have the dogs? Should the dog have my people? Yeah, there's terpenes in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, just buy the dog. But if you want to take the dog, it's okay.
So guys, we're talking about terpenes, and if you're thinking, what are terpenes? Go back and listen to Dr. Dana's class. I think Dr. Dana and I did a class in August on terpenes. Go back and listen to that, catch up. And we've also talked about receptors. So do dogs have the same CB1, CB2 receptors that humans have? I know you said dogs have a lot of receptors. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. All mammals have C1, C2 receptors. Doesn't matter. Okay. So every one animal out there, doesn't matter what kind it is. So as long as it's a mammal. But dogs, to give people an idea, in our nose, we have about 5,000 receptors for smell. Dogs have 50,000 receptors to smell. So when I talk about inflammation, how quick it works with dogs, because they have so many more receptors, it works. I can take a dog that's in really, really pain, and if I'm giving it the right CBD, I'll know within 3 or 4 days whether I've got the right dosage. With people that are really tough, it's going to take me 7 or 10 days to get the same result. So it's really interesting that dogs can do it so quickly, and people just take a little bit more time.
Yeah. So Dean, I just got a question. You guys are talking about dogs. Can I give my cat CBD as well? Sorry.
No, we talk dogs because it's just easier, but yes, in fact I have it would be through marriage, a cousin that does she's got what do I want to say? She takes cats in that have cat leukemia, and she has about 40 or 50 cats at one time. And I give her CBD, but I give her the CBD, but she uses it in all her cats, especially her ones that she knows that are in pain. She makes sure, because she's got to feed them individually when she gives them CBD. So normally she feeds as a group, but when she finds a cat that has a lot of pain, then she's given it CBD, and it really has made a big difference in them.
Wow.
So it's an adoption agency for leukemia cats. How's that?
Yeah. I think that's pretty special. So, what are you
The answer
said?
is yes. You can use it in cats, especially a lot of older cats, and it will help them with, they get calcium buildup in their urethra, and it'll help with that too.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm writing that
So This
down.
is, this is, by the way, anytime that anybody wants to see what I'm saying and I'm talking about, if they go to Harvard Medical or they go to PubMed and they start putting in CBD and cats and dogs and stuff, they can follow up with that. And there's 160 studies going on right now.
Wow.
So we're way behind the light bulb as far as it goes with studies, because you got to remember it wasn't legal until 2019, I should say.
Right.
So
Right.
consequently, none of the universities, veterinarian universities, could do any studying of CBD.
Wow. So, Dean, you wrote this book, CBD for Pets, a guide to pet wellness with CBD. There it is. I haven't got mine yet. So, tell us a little bit about the book. What inspired you to write the book? Was it, after Sadie? And I mean, what inspired you to write this book?
In for the lady that says pets, in here we have a lot of stories about cats too. So the reason I wrote it is, again, because I really felt that people didn't know enough about CBD, good CBD. What's the difference between full spectrum, broad spectrum, and isolate? So I wrote the book so that people could get it and actually read and say, oh, now I know what he's talking about. Oh, they're talking about entourage effect. What does entourage effect mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the entourage effect for your viewers, if you haven't hit this already, is CBD itself has 130. It's made up of 113 cannabinoids. Okay, which we all know, right? And you've probably done this before.
Yep.
So
There's a video out there on it.
so we're going to do a repeat real quick. So
Okay.
if you take the whole, it's greater than each part.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? So if they just take out an isolate, it's just CBD, nothing else. Okay. And broad spectrum, which is what we use with everything, all we've done is take out the THC. Full spectrum has all the cannabinoids, including the THC in. Excuse
It's
me.
usually only about 0.3% depending on your state.
Right.
But
No, that's a national
regulation.
yes, it is. Yep.
Okay.
In fact, is if a farmer's growing hemp, okay, and I hope most of you people know the difference between hemp and marijuana. So it's if they're growing hemp, and if they test it 5 times during the year. If it tests more than 0.3, they have to destroy the crop. There was a farmer down in Georgia that had to destroy 100 acres. Now it cost him $7,000 an acre to plant that, and he had to destroy 100 acres at $7,000 an acre. Figure that what cost out. Because it went from 0.3 to 0.5.
Wow.
And it was the government's fault because he was supposed to test 2 weeks earlier. It stayed in the field 2 weeks too long and gained that much, 2%.
Wow. Wow. So, guys, because it's National Pet CBD Month, well, no, before I tell you about the goodies we've got for you, I want to ask you the difference between pet treats with CBD versus the tincture, because we have Bang Bites for dogs here in Bangology. But when it comes, to down to if your dog has pain or separation or situational anxiety, which one works better? What are your thoughts between snacks and the tinctures?
If the pet treats have enough CBD in them, then they can work and work well. Okay. But if the pet treats are like the gummies that I normally see that only have 2 or 3 or 5 milligrams of CBD in them, you have to give your pet so many treats to make up for one dropper full of CBD. Like, let's say it's a big dog.
Right.
Okay, and I'm giving it a dropper full, and I'm giving it twice a day, in the morning, at night, because it's in pain and I want it out of pain. That's what I give my dog. It gets 2 full dropperfuls every night. Okay, so there's 600 in ours. Okay, take that by 30. So that means that every dropper's got 20 milligrams. My dog's getting 40 milligrams of CBD to keep the pain away.
Oh, he's getting like what I get.
Right. And it's really something, because I am a CBD guy, but I don't keep it in my house, and ship it out. It's at a warehouse, and the warehouse is about 70 miles away or so forth. And I went without it for about 5 days, 6 days. And my dog actually stopped jumping on the couch again, started laying on her bed, wouldn't get up until I gave her the CBD again. And of course, she did everything that she was doing before.
So just like humans, we know good stuff, and our bodies want the good stuff. It craves the good stuff. And just like when I go to the pantry, Cooper knows there are treats in there. Right. I don't know what kind of treats there are treats in there. And so guys, if you're wondering, what are we talking about? We're talking about the Emily Sage Companion. I don't know if you can see it. Companion for calm and comfort for cats and dogs.
Yes.
And we'll put a link. We'll put a link out so you guys can check it out. And also, because it is National Pet CBD Month, Dean has another special surprise for you. Dean, you want to tell them about what else they're going to get?
Yeah. If any of them would like to, let's get this. There we go.
Yep.
In front of me. There we go. If any of them would like to get the first 4 chapters of my book free, which is the basics of the book. Okay. After that, we tell a lot of stories, and we talk about a lot of pet owners and what they use CBD for. So it's really some good stories in there that they can say, oh, my dog's got Crohn's disease. Oh, this dog was helped with Crohn's disease. Right. So that's the kind of stories we talk about. Oh, my dog has seizures. So they can get the first 4 chapters free. And they go to that link, they can download it, and it's for them.
Great. So guys, when we get that link, I apologize for not having it ready for you tonight, but we're going to have that link. So just come back to the video, whether you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, and click on that link. It'll be in the show notes, and you can get those first 4 chapters of the book. And if you're interested in getting your dog started on a quality CBD products, while supplies last, we've got Bang Bite treats. Not sure how much longer we're going to have those, but you can also, there will also be a link for Emily Sage if you want to try out the CBD. I've been giving Cooper CBD ever since I got him, and I was a little scared, Dean, because he's an adopted dog. Sure. From the shelter, and the first day I brought him home, he had a little anxiety, and I gave him 2 because our treats are really small. Right. But it said for his size, I should have given him 1, and I thought, oh my God, I'm killing the dog on the first day, and what the dog in jail. But he was fine.
Oh yeah.
He was fine. He would probably eat the whole box. He's a crazy guy. And I'm going to try giving him a dropper in his mouth, because I'm going to try that and see how that works.
By the way, the cat person, if they try to put the dropper in its mouth, cats are the most finicky.
They're finicky.
Yes, they're finicky. and if you try to put it on their food, they probably won't eat it. So I tell everybody, go to salmon packed in oil and put it and mix up the salmon in the oil, and then they'll eat the salmon. But if you
Okay.
try to give them with a tincture, the second day you try to catch that cat, you ain't gonna catch that cat.
Right.
And they're just picky eaters. That's all there is to it. So
Right.
that's the only way with cats that I really recommend is put it in salmon, and it's
Okay.
got to be salmon packed not in water. It's got to be packed in oil.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you said that you usually get your 5 top questions. I think we've touched on 2 or 3. What are the other questions you get around pets and CBD?
Well, the one that everybody should know that I get is probably, well, I'm already giving my dogs drugs for this or that, or I'm giving my dogs glucosamine, or I'm giving my dog collagen.
Mm,
Let's interrupt that. If it's non-drug related, I say give them the CBD. I mean, it's going to be a test, but it can't hurt them. And usually, because of all the receptors, it's actually helps with the collagen, helps with the glucosamine. So that's a good addition to what they're already doing.
oh, that's good. That's
Okay.
good. And probably you can probably just give them the CBD and not have to give them the glucosamine.
Yes, but most people don't want to pull them off one thing and just try them on another. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. But
Yeah.
when it
Because
comes,
I guess I'm thinking, how will I know if the CBD is working? So,
they'll
kind of,
know, they'll know, they'll be
okay.
able to tell, and the dog will let them know real quickly.
Okay.
And then if they want to pull a dog off one over the other, then they can do that. And most
Mhm.
people do. Okay. But there's a lot of pet parents that, I'd rather overdo it than underdo it. I understand.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Another thing is, they when we come to meds and what goes on with dogs, if they're giving the dog Benadryl, Prozac, pull them off, put them on CBD. It's 10
Mm,
times better. Okay, let's take seizure medication. I'll give you a good example.
right.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law have a dog that's had seizures ever since it's been about 3 years old. It's now 8, and yeah, I mean, it was having 2, 3 seizures every month. Okay, that sort of thing, that kind of seizures.
And
Like
that's scary. It's
yeah,
scary.
yeah, it's scary. And I mean, every month, ever since it's been 3 years old. And they put it on this med, they put it on that med, and they tried this med, and they tried that med. And anytime they give you meds and they say, oh, by the way, you better bring in your dog every 3 to 6 months to get its blood work tested because this med could affect their liver or their kidney. Well, by the time that med it shows up on a test, your liver and kidneys probably already 50% shot. So you got to figure this out. By the time it gets there, it's already hurt your liver and kidneys, right?
Yep.
That's why it's there. So we finally 3 years ago, I've been after them for like 3 years ago when I started this. I said, you got to put your dog in CBD. You got to put your dog. Finally, after a year of pestering, I gave them enough CBD. They are now down to one med and only half the dose.
Wow.
They found out when they took it completely off, and you got to remember, it's just like opioids change your mind. Well,
Hmm.
that's the same thing that these meds were doing. They changed the mind of the dog, so it needed to be on that half a med
Wow.
along with the CBD to stop. But it's had no seizures. No, for the last year, no seizures. It's 8 years old. We've got it where between the half med and CBD, no seizures.
So I got this question. What are your thoughts about monthly heart flea combination? Doing it every month versus doing it every other month. Do you think it affects the dogs over the long haul in a negative way, or?
Well, luckily, I live in the north. Okay, I live in Michigan. Okay, and I am not a vet, and I'm not going to profess to be one.
Right.
But I can tell you this: when wintertime comes and I have no ticks and I have no fleas, my dog goes off that medication.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard people say that.
Okay, so I just take them off.
Yeah.
It's like Ritalin, if people that put their kid on Ritalin. Oh, by the way, that's one of the things that for ADD kids that are
Yep.
on Ritalin, if they don't switch their kid to CBD, it's a shame. I've got a real good friend of mine that her kid was on Ritalin for a long time because he just was acting up in school so much. They switched him over to CBD, and the teacher called her up. This is probably about a year ago now, and said, "Did you forget?" And I'm going to call it. It's named Billy. Did you forget to give Billy his CBD this morning? She goes, "Oh my goodness, I did. I'm on my way." I mean, that was the difference between that kid on CBD and off.
I just got a call last night actually, from a parent wanting to know, can I give my kid CBD for ADHD? And I'm like, absolutely, you can. There are a lot of parents that are moving in that direction, because they don't want their kids on the pharma drugs
Yeah,
and the CBD. For the moms that I've spoken with who've been using it for a while, they're getting good results.
we're getting very good results. Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of people that do that, but I always bring up we have one of our wellness advisors that her son is 20 years old now and is self-harming autistic.
Mm,
And when I say self-harming, I mean just pounds his head, like just beats his head.
yeah, yeah.
They've had him on high dosage of CBD, and it's really, really slow. Hey, does he still have those every once in a while? Yes. It's not stopped it completely,
Right.
but like they were having like 2 or 3 meltdowns a week, and now it's down to a few a month.
Right.
So they're really, really happy with CBD.
So, Dean, there's so many different cannabinoids that are out. You've got CBD, CBN, CBG, most
Right.
recently Delta 8.
Yep.
Um, are those being made in a pet version, or should we just stick with the CBD for pets?
Well, if you get full spectrum and broad spectrum, you're already getting the CBG and CBN and Delta. So
Okay.
you're already getting that in either full spectrum or broad spectrum.
Okay.
So it's there automatically.
Okay.
Now, they are going to isolate. And the nice thing about all these studies is 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when I'm not around anymore, you all will be able to sit down and go, "Oh, I've got I'm diabetic,
Yeah.
and I don't want to use one of the drugs that are out there right now, and I want to see if CBD will help me." They'll be able to say, "Yes, it can. This is the portion that you need. You weigh this much. This is This is exactly the dosage you need."
Hmm.
There will be that exact studies out. Right
Yeah.
now, we're so new into the studies, and I brought up PubMed. I mean, you can find these studies even on dogs, and they're 21 beagle dogs, or 15 of this, 10 of this, but there's no 10,000 of them.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think we are going to see more studies on CBD for humans and for pets, and I think it's going to become as natural as taking vitamin C, because of the benefits that for so long we were told to stay away from, and now everything's opened up, and it's like CBD can help with so many situations, so many issues.
Well, you're seeing some of the big pharma companies right now trying to make it synthetically. So does that tell you anything?
It tells me a lot. It tells
Yeah.
me they see the
Follow the
writing on
money.
the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Follow the money. I mean,
Yeah.
so they're trying to make it synthetically, and I'm going, why do you want to make something? And I'll tell you why. Because then they can go and get a patent on it, and it can only be theirs, and then they can charge big money for it, and they can say that CBD doesn't work, so you need my synthetic drug.
Yeah. And then we're back to point A where we were before, sucked into the big pharma.
Yeah, they were the ones back in 1936. In 1936 is when the first went on that you couldn't use CBD.
Right.
And then, of course, they couldn't grow hemp is back
Right.
in 1936. Then, when the war started, they started growing hemp again, so that they could make parachute rope.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was made for. And then, as soon as the war was over, you couldn't grow hemp anymore. It was done. So. And that's why no studies could be done, because it was illegal for any university to have CBD on their campus.
Wow.
Yeah, Israel is way ahead of us. And so is Europe is way ahead of us.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They've been doing studies on CBD for 15 years now.
Oh, wow. I'll have to check those out.
It's just like, our clean beauty products. To give you an idea, over in Europe, they've got about 1,300 plus chemicals that you can't use in cosmetics. You know how many the FDA is outlawed here in the United States?
I'm scared.
Little over 300. So there's almost 1,000 difference of what we can't put in here. So like when we do all our clean beauty products, we're taking their Japan and Europe, finding out what's on their list, and nothing can go on our cosmetics that's on their list.
Wow. Dean, this has been such an enlightening conversation. I've been doing a lot of just studying on CBD for humans, and I know that CBD is good for pets as well. But I mean, this conversation now is I'm excited about reading your book. Can't wait to get my hands on it. Excited about reading your book and, sharing this information with more people. I've got several friends who have dogs, and some of them are older and they're struggling and they need CBD. And hopefully their dog moms their humans are watching, and they can go ahead and, when I get the link, they can go ahead and get it and start using it, because it's really hard to see your friends struggle.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And by the way, just so anybody knows, if they go to the website and they're looking up, Sage is spelled SAIGE. So we put the I in there. Yeah. SAIGE.
Yep. And we'll put the link in the show notes, guys. And it comes with a really nice little drop. Let me see. Cooper, are you gonna let me try to give you some tonight on camera? Yeah, because you're a greedy boy. So it comes with a dropper, and it's already measured out. And so this is what is that? 0.75.
Yeah,
so that's usually what I put on his food.
Okay, that's great. That's
0.75. So Cooper, you gonna let me no, not the whole bottle. You gonna let me give it to you? You're so greedy. Open up. Oh, I can't believe it. So guys,
by doing it that way, it's immediate effect. It goes right into their saliva and stuff.
So because I could not tell, because I've been putting it on his food, and if he likes it. I've been putting it on his food, and if he didn't eat it right away, I wasn't really sure, but I think he likes it.
Yeah.
I think
my dog would do the same thing.
He's a crazy man. He's like, what? Are we eating something? I want it. I want it. So, well, Dean, thank you so much for joining us for National Pet CBD Month, for sharing your knowledge with us, and the lovely treat that everybody's going to get when they go back to the show notes. to get the book. If you want to get the full book, I'll also put the link to the book on Amazon. Dean, do you send books out, or do you prefer to send people to Amazon?
They can just go to Amazon. It's the quickest and easiest.
So I'll put the link.
I mean, how can you beat Amazon? You order the book, the next day it's there.
Right. Now you get it from me. It might take a few days. So so we'll put all the links in the show notes page. Guys, love on your pets. Take care of them. Give them CBD. Give them their vitamins. They need vitamins too. And do it early. You know, Cooper's 3. So, you know, he's on CBD. He's a CBD dog. My Munch didn't get a chance to have CBD, but Cooper's a CBD dog, and hopefully it's gonna keep him calm.
You'll see a better coat too. It really helps with their coat.
Awesome. Great. Well, Dean, I hope you come back and visit with us again.
Okay. Anytime.
And I know you're in our community. So guys, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. We do these sessions every month. We've got some exciting things coming up. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you are not following our communities, you can follow our public page, Bangology, on Facebook and IG, and that's BHANGOLOGY. And if you want to be in our private community, Bangology Cannabis Society, send me a little message. I don't know if you can find us online, but you can actually request to join the group. And we'd love to have you. We do some fun things in there as well. So thank you for joining us. Everyone, have an amazing evening.